President-elect Trump rattled European leaders last week when he called NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, obsolete. In the same week, Poland welcomed the largest NATO deployment of U.S. tanks and troops in decades. That came as a show of strength to Russia, which sent military troops into adjacent Ukraine in 2014. Now President Trump will have to deal with their militarized border with NATO forces to the west and Putin's troops to the east. Scott Thuman went to Kaliningrad, where things are not so quiet on Russia's western front.
When Vladimir Putin wants to display Russia's military might and prestige, Kaliningrad is often his stage, and NATO his intended audience. The reason these Russian ships in Baltic waters worry the rest of the world is like any prize real estate, it is all about location. Kaliningrad isn't even physically attached to mainland Russia. It's an armed enclave squeezed between Lithuania and Poland, both NATO members. And that makes this lesser-known property an armed perch for any push by Putin into Eastern Europe. The port's position, long cloaked in mystery and international intrigue, has been a strategic stronghold since the Soviets took and kept what was known as Königsberg from the Germans after World War II. And the sacrifices made over this pivotal piece of land aren't lost on anyone.
Well, I can say Kaliningrad was very important. There was a very large military presence, both land troops and naval troops.
Nikolai Perekov was a captain in the Russian Navy. He's now a senior research member of its military museum here and knows the power of this port.
Many people in the West believe that this area is going to be very important again in this tension between Russia and the rest of the world.
Well, I can say that Kaliningrad has never lost its significance as the military and naval base since 1945.
Russia is not exactly secretive about some of the military moves. NATO slammed Russia last November for military posturing when they deployed anti-ship missiles. In October, Russia sent nuclear-capable Iskander missiles to Kaliningrad, a move that Poland described as of the, quote, highest concern.
Are there Iskander missiles here right now?
Yeah, if we're talking about Iskander missiles, Minister of Defense confirmed that they were here, and we don't know whether they are here or not because it's kind of demonstration of power.
Igor Rudnikov is a member of parliament in Kaliningrad, but was once a naval officer. We talked about the nuclear-capable missiles and their message.
They can bring it, they can remove it. So the goal of all these kind of threats is to make you, America, to compromise or to take the conditions of Russia.
Backing down does not seem to be the direction of NATO or the United States. When we were in Estonia last year, a NATO ally on Russia's border, and on edge over Putin's buildup by land and by sea, U.S. troops were training and preparing for the mechanized divisions that are now on the ground and on the move. But the role of the U.S. in NATO is in question under the new Trump administration. We asked candidate Trump about it last spring.
What's your idea of the purpose of NATO, and what do you think needs to be changed about it?
And NATO wasn't designed for terrorism, because a lot of countries would have to be added, maybe some taken away, frankly, and others added. So maybe you need something new. But NATO is obsolete. It was, I guess it's about 68 years old. It was designed for a different mission.
The advice from two potential Trump cabinet members in front of Congress is pushing, though, in a different direction, including from his incoming Secretary of Defense, General James Mattis.
And I think right now the most important thing is that we recognize the reality of what we deal with Mr. Putin, and we recognize that he is trying to break the North Atlantic Alliance.
While Soviet subs like the Foxtrot here are now considered a relic, many wonder aloud, has Kaliningrad become yet again the front line in a new Cold War? While the signs of a Soviet-time iron fist are still plentiful, they don't dominate the landscape as they have in decades past. The drumbeats of war with roots that reach back over 750 years seem to be drowned out by the calls for peace.
We need peace. We are ordinary people and we want to live in friendship between the countries.
Do they believe Kaliningrad will return to the way it was in the first Cold War?
I'm not an expert in these questions, but I felt some tension. I'm a bit disappointed, but this tension is in the air. We love America.
And who do they blame for that tension?
Both sides.
And even with ships and missiles and armies armed and poised, in the end, Kaliningrad may be simply playing a character role in another great Russian drama.
Is what's happening right now just one big chess game between Russia and the rest of the world?
It's very comfortable for the Russian government to make this image our powerful enemy, because this explains why we have so many problems in our international economy.
And Sharyl, even in Kaliningrad, we heard this consensus among people we talked to who said they're hopeful that relations will improve, that there won't be a resetting of the Cold War, and they're banking a lot of that optimism on Donald Trump. They're confident that he can help broker a more peaceful relationship between Russia, the U.S., and the rest of the world.
We shall see. Great reporting. Thanks, Scott.